Welcome to Deer Camp Big Buck Spotlight. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the Mel Johnson buck, the current world record typical archery buck. As someone that is very passionate about archery deer hunting, this is a buck that I look quite fondly on. It has to be put up there on my list of top favorite bucks simply for the significance of the weapon used to harvest the deer. I'm sure many other bow hunters agree with that. It really is quite impressive that not only did Mel Johnson harvest this deer with a bow and arrow, but he did it with a recurve. It's no easy feat to harvest any animal with equipment like that, and it can't be understated. I also have a great admiration for giant, typical whitetails. I know I'm not alone in that. While giant non-typicals deserve their place in the record books, they're what you may call freaks of nature, almost unnatural. It almost seems more impressive for a buck to grow a giant set of typical antlers without a lot of non-typical points, but this is just my opinion. Mel Johnson's buck definitely falls into that description of giant, typical whitetails, and it's recognized as such. Mel shot the buck in 1965 in Illinois while sitting on the edge of a soybean field that he got permission to hunt. He made a 20-yard shot with his 72-pound recurve while hunting from the ground. Saying all that makes me think about how different hunting is these days. Getting permission to hunt someone's property is near impossible, especially with a giant buck in the area. Hunting off the ground with a high-poundage recurve is unheard of. I imagine Mel was also just wearing an old flannel and jeans. Of course, all of what I'm saying is just typical of that time period, but in a modern-day sense, this is completely out of the realm of the average hunter today. Mel's buck scored 2.04 and 4/8 inches typical, and is the only North American big game animal ever to receive both the Ishii and Sagamore Hill Awards, which is the highest recognition bestowed upon big game hunters by Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett. With the amount of record book bucks and giant deer that have been discovered or found in various ways but not harvested by a hunter, it's so gratifying to see a buck like this in the record books that was harvested by a hunter, especially a bow hunter. It's also just great to see a hunter proudly posing with his bow. Even that is rare to see these days. I can only hope the day this record is broken, the hunter that's sitting behind the new record is proudly holding an old recurve. Wouldn't that be something? Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Deer Camp Big Buck Spotlight. Until next time, remember, you're always welcome at Deer Camp.